Welcome to the Deciders video on what is health research. After this presentation, you will better understand what research is, the importance of doing research on health outcomes, and why it is important you are here today. If you have any questions at the end, please ask your facilitators. So let's start with the story. There once was a community that wanted to improve the overall health of the people who live there. They started by asking the question, what is health? The World Health Organization says that health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, not merely the absence of disease. This definition can be shown as a triangle with physical, social, and mental health sides. So the people in the community, knowing that health has so many different aspects, wondered if the purple smog was making them unhealthy.
We need answers. We need research.
But what is research? Research is a process of asking a question and getting a meaningful answer. Research bridges the gaps between questions and answers. Members of the community had many different views on what research is.
So when we asked people, what is research, they said,
monkeys, mice, rats, guinea pigs. They also said the Tuskegee syphilis study and testing drugs on people. People also said that when they thought of research, they thought of data, lots of information, and numbers. The community knew that research could bring them answers to their questions about purple smog.
But what has health research done before?
Health research has used experiments and other scientific ways to help us learn about what affects human health. Initially, smoking was considered good for you. Through health research, they found that smoking was linked with an increase in lung cancer. Experiments were also used to discover better ways to prevent or treat diseases. For example, polio was one of the most feared diseases, paralyzing thousands of children every year. Through health research, there was a development of an effective vaccine to prevent polio. Today, polio has been eliminated from most of the world. Health research also discovers ways to improve health in many different settings. Rural communities are often left with little choice for care. Research found ways to improve care in rural areas using telemedicine, which is the remote diagnosis and treatment of patients by means of technology. The community wondered, can health research tell me if the purple smog is causing asthma?
Yes! Research uses what we know to find out what we don't know.
Health research has found some answers to asthma. For instance, doctors and scientists used to think asthma was psychological and that children who wheezed were just crying out for their mother. But when research was done, scientists looked at the airways and found inflammation, which blocked the airways, making it difficult to breathe. Now, asthma is treated with anti-inflammatory medicines like inhaled steroids. Through health research, we now know how to diagnose asthma, how to treat people, including young children, if they have asthma. We have also learned what the triggers are for asthma, such as pollen or dust, or even pollution or chemical fumes. The community was ready for research. They wanted research.
Is there a link between asthma and this purple smog? How can we get funding to answer this question?
They tried to find funding for research. Even though they thought the purple smog was a big concern in their community, they were told that the purple smog was not a priority of any foundation or government agency. At a community meeting in the back of the room, a little girl raised her hand and asked,
Where do research priorities come from?
Let's start by looking at who pays for research. There are a few places where a lot of health research is funded. To mention a few, pharmaceutical companies, the government, rich donors, and charities. In 2011, industry paid $80 billion for research. The government paid $40 billion for research. And other sources like St. Jude Children's Hospital, the American Heart Association, Susan G. Komen for the Cure, and colleges and universities paid $20 billion for research. So where does all this money come from? U.S. government organizations spend billions of dollars on health research every year. These are organizations like the National Institutes of Health, Center for Disease Control, Department of Defense, Veterans Administration, and many others. Your tax dollars pay for government research, but who decides what questions are the most important? We want it to be you. In our story, the community wanted a voice in the health research funding process, and they were heard. The community partnered with academics and others to answer all their questions about the purple smog. This community story has a happy ending. So now it's your turn. We know what the research questions that the community members had when dealing with the purple smog. Now we want to know what your research questions are. You have the ear of decision makers. They are listening to what health issues are important to you and your community. To have your voice heard by decision makers, we're going to play a game called Chat, Choosing All Together. The game will help set research priorities for yourself and for your community. Thank you, and have fun playing Chat.